to Blacklace and Bones.
Well, we talk about everything that's spooky, kooky, and a little bit creepy.
With a mix of cutesy.
Today we are going to talk about being scare actors, as both of us have personally been scare actors for coming up about 5 years now.
5 years this year, I believe, and we're going to talk about like what the audition's like, and we have a lot of stories, so it's probably going to be a lot more podcasts about this. But first, Shan, you done more acting than I have. What was being a scare actor like for you?
It was definitely very interesting. I think for me personally, like obviously I went down the professional acting route anyway, you know, with like drama school and stuff like that. But I've always, like ever since I was little, been into the darker things anyway. So I think like for me personally, it's kind of something I naturally gravitated towards.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of like I actually met someone whilst taking my degree who was a scare actor at Thorpe Park, and he was the first one to kind of show me
the magical world.
Yes, the magical world of scare acting. So after that I kind of somehow then coincidentally stumbled across obviously my local scare group and auditioned, and that's kind of been it since, really.
Yeah, because I remember obviously when we've known each other since we were like kids,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of drifted apart because we all went to different paths in our life. And then ironically, first time we reconnected was through our local scare acting and the audition process. Same day, same everything. Like, it was
literally
insane.
It was the weirdest coincidence. We hadn't seen each other in years. We'd gone to like different senior schools and colleges,
Yeah.
but then like we went to the audition and it was like, I know you.
I know you.
It's like, it's been a while. Hello.
It's been a while. Hello. And ironically, like growing up, like Shan was like the person to introduce me all to the spooky stuff, because I was very much in the Christian side of life.
Ugh.
Yeah. And like first time for Halloween, you saying about these contacts, and I was like, let me get some please. I'm trying to convince my family. Just didn't work out.
Yeah, from a very young age I've been into everything that has been a bit dark and a bit spooky. So it's like from, I don't know, I think I was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe even young, wait no, maybe
Just
younger
a bit
than
younger,
that.
I think, yeah.
So I think I might have been actually around 10 when I tried on my first pair of contact lenses for Halloween. Some nice Volturi Twilight Red ones, might I add.
Gorgeous. I remember you coming up to mine and with these red eyes, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's ironically when I first tried my first polymorph fangs as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, the moulding onto the teeth and stuff like that.
Ironically, it's taken me longer to do that. It's just literally this week.
For the first time.
First time.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Like compared to like where I was just the only acting I did was GCSE drama and like school plays, everything else, and that's all I did. Failed GCSE drama as well. Yeah, because COVID happened.
We love that.
Yes. And then even like college, I went on to animation, so I went into a complete different like platform of creativity. And then a year later I went into mechanics, which is completely out of the ordinary.
Well, you went on a bit of a whirlwind there.
Yeah, I went in complete different creative routes. But at the same time, I still had my creativity with mechanics, because then I went to fabrication, where I was doing painting cars, fixing cars, and like either way, I still had my artistic side, just in different forms. But I just didn't go into acting like you did. And I always wanted to do, because I was just like, why not?
Yeah, well, no, it was obviously the same for me. Like, yes, I know from a very young age, like at 8 years old, I knew that obviously I always wanted to act. But like, obviously, as I've grown older and obviously the more I've learned about my craft, the more I've learned of other things I'm interested in.
It's so interesting to see you suddenly do a random course I never knew about, because all of a sudden you just post it on your socials. Like, you did aerial at one point, like circus training.
Yes, I did. That was very intensive, very, very fun. It's something I'm glad to have, and I'm not ready to kind of give up yet. Obviously, I'm on a hiatus at the moment with everything else that I have in the schedule currently, but it will be on the horizon again.
Yeah, that was like, just seeing you pop up with it, I was just like, oh wow, like you were doing like every single thing differently in like that creativity.
Yeah, obviously, I think I've just always kind of been attracted to the not your standard routes of creativity.
Yeah.
Because like I do enjoy aerial and circus act, but it was also learning to use like body mechanics, such as like being able to walk on arm stills that allow you to walk on all fours, like animals, for stop motion and animation and things like that. It was also learning to work with loads of different types of masks. Obviously, you've got like your Phantom of the Opera kind of masks. You've got, then over in Italy, you've got Commedia dell'arte, which is all with masks and stuff like that. So it's all kind of like the very kind of different way, because obviously acting is extremely mainstream nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
So I think being able to like even bring back something as old as Commedia dell'arte, it is still so unique compared to your modern contemporary outlook on what acting is today.
Yeah, especially when you go to like musicals. Musicals are such a breather from everything. But then with Disney, kind of just like Disney having films coming out as musicals as well. You're so grown into it that sometimes I didn't even like musicals until I realised that Disney was musicals.
How long did it take you to figure that one out?
Good couple years.
Wow.
But I never, like, my family were very like conservative, like they were like police officers, business people, like they weren't into the creative side, they were more like mechanically, like maths. So I never grew into that creative side at all until literally I met you. Like to then grow into that, the like spooky side, and also like I fell in love with Women in Black. I fell in love with like all different types of things.
That is the one thing that terrified me. I went to see that for GCSE drama. I had to go and see that, and that I did not sleep in my room for 6 weeks, and I will own up to that.
Yeah, I was the same. Like it was GCSE drama once again in London. It was like, oh yeah, be fine. Watch the film. Nope, totally not.
Seeing it live is worse. Watching the movie, if you think the movie of The Woman in Black is bad, trust me, seeing the stage showdown in London is 10 times worse.
Yeah, it's so amazingly made. It's unreal, and to still get that side, the scare side. Oh, but that's what made me fall in love with scare acting. And like the audition process was completely out of like the blue.
Oh, it was wacky as hell.
But surprisingly enough, with someone that has no acting experience, I think the only things I've really dabbled in since like by then was voice acting because of my animation life. And to try and get my voice more into the body movements as well was just insane. And like I can remember the audition process. Like we literally had to act like animals at one point. We had to read a script.
Yes.
In different ways. Like it was insane.
We were shouting "Mary Had a Little Lamb" at one point.
Yeah, I swear I had that lullaby in my head for so long. Like it was "Mary Had a Little Lamb," or that's every single time as well. Every single year ever since we've gone back.
Its fleeces white as snow.
Fleeces white as snow. But you had to say it in like different ways, and I think like it actually has helped with the acting side.
That's the thing. Obviously, the one thing I will say is that when people say, oh, I do scare acting, or I'm a scare actor, they don't take that very seriously.
Yeah, it is a lot to go through to become a scare actor.
Like, not only that, obviously from my perspective, it going into the acting world, saying that I'm a scare actor, people do not take that as legitimate acting experience because it is not on stage or it's on set. It's obviously live immersion.
It's like it's a live performance that you have to immerse yourself into. It's not. It's like going through it yourself as a human. You get scared, but you don't realize the mentality behind the actors to do it.
It's not only that. I think if there's anyone who is very serious about acting, I think at least trying out scare acting is a very good route to go, because of the fact scare acting is 9 times out of 10 100% improvised.
100%.
And having improvisational skills as an actor is like one of the top kind of stepping stones to your toolkit as an actor.
Oh, 100%. Like, we don't know what characters we get. We go in every single year and it's completely different from what we did last year. So like, I was a victim and an alien at one point. You were an alien in Mind Maze at one point.
Yes, I doubled my first year. I was an alien for half of it, and then I was an institutionalized maniac for the other half.
Yeah. The second year I was a rat, like with the rat mask and everything.
I was institutionalized again. There's a running theme here. Well
then. And then third year, I weren't actually in it because I was doing front of house because I got into a car accident.
As well, I was who was known as a roaming character, and that was someone who wasn't in a maze. I was out amongst the crowds. So I was roaming, and I then had created my own character specifically for that. I'd actually created 2.
Yeah, you did.
Which I would then kind of go out as one character for the first half of the night. I'd then come back into the 10, and on my break I would have 15 minutes to change into a whole different character. Makeup and all, contact lenses changed, wig changed, everything changed. Back out as a completely different character.
Yeah, that was insane.
Oh yeah.
And then fourth year, I was a victim mixed with a rat as well, and then
I was the lovely spokesperson, front of house, which is the first character you meet who tells the story of the maze as you are about to go round. Kind of gives context of what you're about to walk into.
Yeah. It's like every character is different as well, and obviously we've got different personalities. We've obviously got different types of characters out there. Like, you won't know what you're getting into unless you're in it. And like, we get like a week to like find, like a week after like Scare School. It's called Scare School, which is now kind of like the audition process now, where before it was literally the audition process was all newbies, and like our first year it was all newbies. It weren't anyone like new, and then we had Scare School to learn
the ways
of being a scare actor. While now the Scare School is like the audition process.
Oh yeah, you have to be on your best behaviour.
Yeah, you have to be on your best behaviour, and you learn all different things. Like, you learn the volumes, you learn body morphing yourself, making yourself so like unlike yourself to scare people, because you have to be like uncanny valley almost.
Yeah, it's not only that, but there's also like loads of different techniques. Obviously, for anyone that's gone to a Halloween themed event will know, like especially those who enjoy Fright Night at like Fort Park or Alton Towers and things like that. You see all the characters on the street. You get some of your very fast, in your face, aggressive ones. You get your more slow, kind of menacing, staring from the corner kind of characters. Then you get like your very non-humanoid characters as well, which they're kind of very down and like creepy.
Yeah. And then you've also got like ghostly figures as well, like ghostly ones.
Yeah, you kind of get your cutesy characters mixed with creepy, so they're like, oh, let's play a game, kind of thing. And then you kind of get your, I suppose, like your godly characters almost.
Yeah, Sin.
Shout out there.
Yeah, 100%. But it's like you got like constant ones as well, and usually every year is different. Usually you are either in a different maze, you're a different character, you're also sometimes fighting the elements, because bear in mind, this is during October, and this is in autumn, where it's raining, it's wet, it's muddy. Like, the roamers had to be outside at all times, while only like 4 out of the 5 mazes were covered, most of it. I got lucky, me and you got lucky, both of us last year were inside.
Yeah, but like, I've been a roamer, and luckily I was smart. Obviously, I created my character as a roamer, and I made it like this very cute kind of like creepy broken doll character. But on top of that, because I made it a doll, I then also got like one of those frilly umbrellas. So then I was like, haha, no one's catching me. I had all the guests asking like, oh, can I borrow your umbrella? And I'm like, no, it's mine, you should have come prepared.
Exactly. And like the second one, it was like also like with me, I was literally in the room, like in a separate room on a chair, screaming my guts out. But the good parts of scare acting is obviously the scaring. We've had a good few good scares.
Oh yes.
Like, I've had code browns, code yellows. I've never had a code green. That's my goal this year, code green.
Oh, I've not had any codes per se, but I've had something called the domino effect.
Oh, I love when they do that.
Luckily, this happened in my first year, and it was the most iconic story, because the one thing is that you start to learn groups. You've got group types. You've got obviously your conga line. You've got the ones that decide they're going to run through and not look at anything. They're just going to dart in and go. And I was lucky. I was in like this room covered with broken dolls. It was quite creepy. This was a time when I was an alien. And this conga line of girls had walked in, and they were all conga lining. They all had hold of each other in a line. And I was like, oh, this is going to be good. They had seen me. They're trying to take the long way around me. And so I kind of deliberately slipped myself into the middle of the group. So the girl's let go of someone, and she's moved back, and I've slipped in. And then she starts giggling. And she's going, I can't remember the name of the girl, but obviously for privacy reasons, we'll just go with Jess. She was like, Jess, look behind you. So obviously this girl, who's still hanging on to the rest of her conga line, has turned around to look at me, seen my face, has screamed, has gone plunging into her friends, and they all started to stack like dominoes onto the floor.
I remember this because I was in the next room as well.
Yes.
And bear in mind, I'm supposed to be a victim, and I'm supposed to lead them down like a tunnel at that point. It was like you had to like crawl under it, and I'm just watching these people falling into my side of the room, and I'm like, what do I do? Because I can't do anything until they get up.
To make it better, our manager had walked in just as they did the domino effect, and then got up and scrambled out. And I kid you not, they had all left the room. I had stayed in character. He had watched it all happen, and he just literally gave me a thumbs up, a nod of the head, and carried on. I was like, perfect, smashed it.
Oh, I loved it. I love scare acting so much because, like, you do get the occasional D-heads. And my first, surprisingly, another time, first year, and they were on something, and 100% this girl thought she was completely, like, she was going to be killed, she was gonna get hurt and everything. I, still in character, kind of tried to take her out of the maze, because I was like, what do I do? Because she thinks she's gonna get killed, and there's gonna be customers coming round back in, and I have this girl literally having a panic attack. You can't stop the maze for a panic attack. That's like the major rule. Like, they need to go for it. Like, a panic attack is a panic attack. You come to an event to be scared. You kind of sign yourself up for failure. Yeah. The only times because we have emergency stops, the only time we emergency stop is if someone's completely, like, fainted, like, out of it, like, knocked themselves unconscious, epilepsy. I can't remember the other ones.
It's kind of like, obviously we've got a lot of electricals and special effects, so if anything malfunctions and all of a sudden there's like a fire, we'll emergency stop for that. So any of your like big emergencies, if someone's hyperventilating, you as an actor can then escort them out an emergency exit to the paramedics that are on site without stopping the maze from functioning.
because you got to bear in mind these like our queues are massive because we can only fit a certain amount of people in a maze. Because depending on how small it is, how the end room is, it's all different. Like, you can't physically put in things like that. So stopping a maze can take up to like at least a good half an hour
just to get it reprogrammed and re-up again before you can open to more customers.
And that's without getting the person out as well. So it's only for emergencies. Personally, I've never had to do an emergency stop.
Neither.
So I know that people have, and I've never been in a maze that has had an emergency stop either.
I have.
But half the time I'm the one that's broken, so...
No, literally, it's very simple. The minute an E-stop is pressed in a maze, all like special effects, all music and all that stop, and the maze all of a sudden lights up. That way, obviously, you can then break character and automatically escort all guests and other actors who are in the maze out the nearest exit to then clear the maze so that management can come in and obviously find out what the problem is for the emergency stop and then get it reprogrammed to get up and running again before you can then open it back up to the public.
I do love my techs. They're brilliant. They are amazing.
Yes.
The set designers as well, they're all brilliant. Like, you can't be a scare actor without the sets either.
No, I mean, I think our company, they personally like to find a lot of artists to come and actually paint our sets. So obviously we get a lot of outside companies who come in and work on the sets. They paint like some of the most amazing like wall art and stuff there is that you see inside the mazes as you walk through.
Oh, they are beautiful. Like, at one point I got jump scared by just the painting.
Yeah, literally. So like some of the paintings on there are so creepy. I mean, obviously us actors can still get scared, especially when we first go into the maze. It does take a while to get used to.
It's even more fun when we have like a special night. So after everyone's like left, like hunters, that's what we call them.
The guests, yes.
The guests. Once they've left, we as the groups in our mazes also get to go around and get scared by us, like our friends, which is brilliant. And I've done it a couple of times where I've just become a punter and I've just gone through. And I've been dragged in, I've been dragged in by Shan, which has also scared people as well, because obviously they're seeing me being dragged in to the maze.
And obviously,
while they're in a queue.
It's the number one rule that scare actors will not touch you. So when they see me dragging Ash in as a punter, as a guest, they then are like, oh wait, no, is she going to do that to me? Is she going to come back out and do that to me?
Yeah, exactly.
They start to panic. But the thing is, obviously, we do get a lot of friends and family who come to see us at the event. And if we do know you, then...
Yeah, unfortunately, you are going to be grabbed and pulled out.
Because we know you. Therefore, we're allowed to do that. If obviously you're a guest we don't know, we stick by the number one rule, which is you don't touch us,
we don't touch
you.
Which is a huge thing, especially when it's live performances, because you don't know what the actor's going to do next. And we also don't know how you're going to react to us scaring anyway. You could be, obviously, a fight or flight response is a fight or flight, no matter what. You can't control it, no matter how much you try. So we don't know how you're going to react. So if you're going to try and touch us, we're going to instead go back into our like hole. It's not really a hole,
basically.
Back in the darkness, and you just ruined it for everyone else.
Basically, because obviously, as much as we are there to entertain the guests that come through, we obviously also do prioritize our safety.
Yes, and even though we don't look after our own safety when we run around, but so like we come home with bruises. I've actually physically broken my arm at one point.
Yeah, no, I remember my first year, I actually took a picture of my legs. I was in the bathtub and literally my legs were just polka dotted all the way down with bruises.
Yeah, we ended up being like, I went to hospital my first year because I literally damaged my whole arm from just making sound. Like, we as actors also like make sounds, like banging things and everything to create the atmosphere as well inside, because as much as the set designers and the music and the text and everything else do an amazing job, if you're just being silent as an actor, it's not going to do anything.
No.
So obviously you're going to get some injuries. And if you accidentally run full pelt into a prop, you kind of just... It's usually the first couple of days when you go, oh, that prop's there.
Yeah, because obviously from our perspective, we don't see the mazes really in full motion until a couple of nights before the event actually opens. And even then, we only have one rehearsal night.
Yeah.
Which is literally a couple of days before. So we still don't fully know our maze properly. And so sometimes when we are running to try and get from A to B quickly so we can pop up in a different location and scare someone again, we do like trip and kind of like bump into things along the way, because obviously it's not only that, when we do rehearsal night, the lights are still on.
Yeah, we have like obviously special like emergency lights that shine as much, but obviously the atmosphere lights is almost complete darkness. So as like actors, our eyes obviously naturally adjust because we've been there for so long at that point. But for obviously when you're on rehearsal night, trying to get used to it in the dark is completely different.
Oh yeah, because you do your rehearsal in the light, you've still got what we call the house lights still on. So obviously you're exploring your maze, you're exploring where all the hidey holes are that get you from one point to the maze to another way without being seen. But then obviously you don't do it in the dark until opening night.
Yeah, and you get the occasion. No matter what, you're gonna get the occasional bruise.
Oh yeah, I think like obviously you had your arm, but my worst experience was unfortunately you do get some
accidental punches, or
it's not even just accidental punches. Unfortunately, you do get some guests that do arrive to these events already intoxicated,
yeah,
or on other substances because they're trying to have a fun time. And sometimes you just get some really malicious people who are like, you know what, I don't like you. Or people that get aggressive when they've been scared because their egos kind of get a little bit hurt.
Especially the older men.
So, yeah, but this was actually a woman.
Yeah, it's surprising that, well, to be fair, both of us obviously look like women. We have the body type of women.
Well, no, it was, obviously, this was when I was an alien with you.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Pretty much, we had this very heavy effects end room. It was like the end event. It was a huge scare moment. And then obviously you would have the exit door to exit the maze and finish that maze. And this woman, unfortunately, would really like to take her time looking around at everything, which I don't fault her for, because it is amazing effects and design. But unfortunately, I've only got so much time to get the guests in the room, out the room, before the next group of guests come, because I need to get everyone out and then I need to hide again before coming out to redo the scare.
And so I can only hold on them off as much as I can, but
yeah,
guests are guests.
So basically, I had gone up to her and screeched at her, which made her then move to exit the maze. She then was standing in the doorway, so the door wouldn't close. So then once again, I've grabbed onto the door frame, I've lunged myself through, and I've screeched. And she literally grabbed the door and she just slammed it straight into my face. Now, I had a prosthetic mask on, so it was like that thick of silicone. Yet, with the force of the door, it had split through the silicone and it had literally bruised my nose.
Yeah.
I felt like I was going to pass out, so it was to the point that I was escorted immediately straight out of the maze after I'd reported it and taken straight into the paramedics tent. And then obviously security was trying to find the woman, but at that point they couldn't find her.
Must have been her last maze as well.
Probably. It was right near at the end of the night, but yeah, that's like my only kind of experience. The only other one is you get people because as a woman, especially the fact like I'm 5'2", I'm tiny.
I'm 5'4" as well, so we're both like equally tiny women with certain big aspects of us.
Yes.
So even in costume, you can tell. Like, I had a costume malfunction by accident. I went to the toilet, went back into my maze, but I didn't realise I was wearing like a blue overalls and my zipper was down and my boobs were just showing. And I didn't realise that. I didn't realise it until I got back into my maze, and my colleagues literally was like, I was like, oh,
not good. But yeah, unfortunately, like, you do get huge groups of like kind of like teenage boys or like young men, and sometimes you do have rooms where it is only a female actor in there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, last year when I was doing the front room of the maze that I was in, it was me and one other woman, but she was hiding before doing the jump scare. So obviously, I was kind of on my own when they first came in. And when you get like a group of 10 guys coming in, and they're extremely rowdy, they kind of end up surrounding you on all sides, and they're kind of shouting and kind of getting too close and kind of like accidentally nudging and like saying things. It makes our job 10 times difficult, because obviously that is another safety aspect as well, because it's kind of weird. You get some guys who try to flirt with all the like women scare actors. They try to shoot their shot, and some of them get extremely grabby as well, which obviously is against policy anyway.
It happened to our friend, like a really bad experience with our friend.
Yeah.
We obviously won't go into detail because that's not our story to tell. But like me personally, last year I was strapped to a chair. Like I wasn't actually strapped. Like obviously I could get out, but I was meant to be strapped in a chair and then to get up and leap at these people. And I got hugged. I got hugged by a random customer, or like they kept trying to help me out, or they're like trying to grab my face. That was another one as well.
Yeah.
The masks. The makeup artists do a brilliant job of our like costumes, like everything. Like the makeup is beyond beautiful, but when you're wearing a mask, they feel like it's an obligation to lift it up, like as if they're in Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah. It's not only that, they're like, oh, what's your name, love? What's your name? Tell us your name. And I'm just like, why did you come to this event exactly?
Yeah, who do you think you're going to pick up? Like, half of us are actually in relationships as well, or married. A lot of us are, like, a lot of the scare actors are actually quite older, like, that are married and have kids.
You've got married couples that are actually at the event, like husband and wife, who are both scare actors in the event kind of thing. We've got a good couple of married couples.
And their kids as well. Like, their kids are old enough to come to the event. And
so it's like a full family affair. But you do just get some guests that don't understand the boundaries. At the end of the day, just because we're in makeup and costume doesn't...
Consent.
It's not just about consent. It's just the fact that you get some people who are really try to be really malicious towards you, when at the end of the day, your job is simply just to entertain. And I think because you're in an entertainment role, all of a sudden, like, I think some people forget that we are actually human beings underneath all of the gore, the blood, the makeup and stuff like that. And I think that's something for people to kind of like try and really, really remember, because obviously we also do it because we enjoy it. You know?
Free therapy.
I mean, it is quite fun. You get quite the adrenaline rush, especially when you do successfully scare someone. But at the same time, we don't do this job to have people push us, grab us, curse us out, and everything like that. That is not what we're here for. That's originally what the guests are not supposed to be there for either.
Exactly that. And we're all here to have a fun time. We enjoy scaring you. We just don't want to be touched.
That is the number one rule.
Number one rule.
Do not touch the actors.
And please, if your kids are not great with horror or anything, do not bring them to a scare event.
Oh, I have seen some of the worst things where children have been brought to the event, because even though it is for people over the age of 16, younger people can attend the event with the accompany of a guardian.
Yeah.
And so you do get some younger kids who have come with their whole family. So it's like a family kind of like fun Halloween experience. Don't
get me wrong, sometimes the kids are brilliant. They love it.
Oh, yeah.
The parents are more scared, and I think it's more fun.
But there is always the other side to the coin. I've opened the door to see some kids crying and saying they do not want to go in, and their parents telling them basically to suck it up and go in.
That's just not fair on your kids. You're traumatizing them, like, for anything. Like, it's a scare event. It's meant to be for adults, and like I was 11 when I first went to our company, and I was like, I loved it. I loved the enjoyment, like the adrenaline rush of being scared. And that's why most people go to scare events, because of the adrenaline rush that you get.
Yeah, it's just you do have to understand that obviously there are kids who don't get scared easy and do actually enjoy stuff. Like obviously we've enjoyed this kind of stuff since we were very young.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you do get some children who are more softer natured and don't handle adrenaline situations that well, and if they don't, then really we don't want to see tearful kids being forced to enter our maze, because we just genuinely feel bad and we don't want to do our full performance because we know we're going to end up traumatizing that child.
But then if our management comes through and sees that we're not doing our full best, we get in trouble for it. So it's like that constant like back and forth. We do have kids events going on as well, and surprisingly cheaper. And I don't know why parents don't do that once, because they're cheaper for parents and kids, and they go for the adult event. We have a designed one for kids.
It's not only that, but at the kids events there's loads of parents that do it and say, oh, this is so scary, is the adult event like this? And we're like, no, it's 10 times worse.
It's so much worse.
Oh yeah, I mean at the kids event obviously we do kind of like semi-jump out, but we don't scream in people's faces, we don't chase them down corridors or things like that. We kind of jump out, make ourselves known, and kind of lurk.
I kind of became a statue last year, because we were in our full makeup instead last year, when usually we would have like a cute little like face paint, like doll face and clown kind of thing. But like last year we were in our full makeup.
Oh yeah.
And I was literally just sitting there at that point because it was so terrifying for the kids.
Oh yeah. It was ramped up last year, but it was made for an older child demographic.
But because people obviously think, oh, it was like the one we did beforehand, where we had the cute little like face paint and everything.
Yeah, it was ramped up for I think people aged 8 and over.
Yeah. It was designed for the people that do take their kids to the main event, more than the kids for during Halloween half term.
Oh yeah. And the most interesting thing is obviously the fact that obviously scare acting is extremely common obviously in the US.
It is.
But it is obviously, there are differences between UK and US. I mean, first off, US hold the #1 glory for anything Halloween related.
100%.
I mean, I wish that the UK still had as much enthusiasm for Halloween as the US, because I remember as a kid that Halloween used to be absolutely iconic in the 90s and the early 2000s.
I know, and even walking around the streets, you're not seeing many houses decorated anymore. It's actually quite upsetting.
I make up for my village.
You make up for it.
Oh yeah.
But it's upsetting for the kids. I loved Halloween. I loved choosing which costume you're gonna wear,
Mm-hmm.
what you're gonna do, what route you're gonna take. It's brilliant, and we're taking away from the kids more than anything.
Yeah, because I mean, in the US, they have, when it comes to Halloween, I mean, #1, they start early, which is something I would love to do.
Yeah, they start all this time.
But on top of that, they have so many different ranges of Halloween events as well. And obviously, you can go anywhere and get Halloween decor galore, as where 9 times out of 10, all the animatronics that the US have in all their back gardens, the huge Halloween displays that they do, I would personally love to do that, but obviously we then have to get our animatronics from the US, because not many animatronics are made for the UK.
I remember when our local shopping centre literally started having the Halloween shop, and I was obsessed going in it. And
I only survived 2 years, and then they shut it down.
Yeah, they shut it down, and now it's a sweet shop, I think, or a clothing shop now.
One of the two.
It's one of the two. It mixes between our shopping centre changes a lot, but it was brilliant. Having that Halloween shop, because me and you were just absolutely. It's our home decor. Come on.
I mean, but no, the US goes really hard, and I mean they do have these really detailed and huge events as well. In the UK, the only kind of huge events you get are for like your major theme parks and stuff like that. I mean, we have some of the classic like Fort Park, Alton Towers. They do go big for Halloween, but then it's like, other than that, you then have your smaller community events. And so I don't think there is as much Halloween kind of interaction as there is in the US.
We're getting more pumpkin patches. I've noticed that.
Yes, but that's because it's very aesthetically pleasing to the British people, to be quite honest.
It is. We get our occasional, we only have like one seasonal drink coming over to the UK. We only get the seasonal drink. McDonald's don't even do the Halloween stuff over here.
Nope.
Like, it's like as if America is the best Halloween, and they always go big, go home.
I know, and I mean, I just like, Britain, this is a plea, get back onto the spooky train, please. I mean, it is one night that you can go like full on whatever you want to be. I mean, that's why we do scare acting, because we get to live Halloween for like a month.
Yeah, we don't just celebrate one day, we celebrate the whole month. It's brilliant.
Oh yes.
But we got more plans this year.
Oh yes, we do.
So you gotta keep an eye out for that.
Oh yeah, we're not going to tell just yet. Way too early. Way too early.
Too early for that. That would be teasers.
Oh yes. Let's just say it's all very spooky related, obviously.
Definitely going to be a busy end of the year for us.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
But I think that's kind of all we have for scare acting anyway.
Yeah, I mean, until this year coming up.
Where we might have some more spooky stories to tell.
Spooky stories? Anything else?
Yes.
Ooh. We got more coming as well.
Mm-hmm.
And our videos will be obviously posted on YouTube and also on Spotify and podcast as well. So please keep an eye out for us.
And if you do like the spooky content, obviously do follow, do subscribe to the many different channels that we will obviously have shown somewhere
around here.
That's for post-production. But obviously, if you do enjoy like spooky content, especially British spooky content, then
we're your gals.
we're your gals, basically.
Yeah.
So obviously, just give us a follow and a subscribe, and hopefully we can kind of grow a little spooky family together.
Spooky little family.
So, on that note, we shall see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.